in the Spirit, you won't be doing those things.
I'll do my best to.
Now look at it, verse 22.
Answer.
How do you know if you're walking in the Spirit?
From the Word of God to
but
this
the fruit of the Spirit
question,
is love.
What is the best way
joy,
to put down my flesh?
Peace, long-suffering.
Now, how many of you believe that I am for you?
Faith.
Raise your hand. I have your best intentions. I have your
against
welfare.
such there is no law.
I'm glad 7
They that are Christ's have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk
I am against you.
The Spirit.
Because if I wasn't for you, I wouldn't be against you.
You cannot
but the only way I
defeat
can be
the
for you is
flesh
to be
with
against
the
you.
flesh.
Y'all got that?
You don't defeat the flesh with don'ts.
All right, 1 Peter chapter 2, look with me in verse 11. Dearly beloved, I beseech you,
if you're truly loving your neighbor
and pilgrims,
would you sneak around on them?
Abstain from
would you try
fleshly lusts,
commit adultery on them,
which war against the soul.
All the law is fulfilled in this. What?
A war
Thou shalt love.
began.
What did Jesus say? Love the Lord thy God?
The very second you got saved,
do that, what are you doing?
War began in your life.
The
Bible says there is no discharge from this war. The only way this
simply
war will
by
ever
what?
end
Loving. What is that? That's putting
is
others
when we are present
before
with Jesus Christ.
Self. That's a do.
Until then, we are in a war.
Are you
and
doing
the war is against ourselves.
If you're walking in the Spirit, and if you love lost souls,
the flesh.
if you love to see people get
Whenever
saved,
you see the Bible talking about the flesh,
if you love the work of God,
that's always
you're going to appreciate it if I get on you about giving and tithing.
Lust.
Right?
What does flesh do? Flesh.
It won't be about what
lusts.
not doing, it's about what you are doing.
What does that mean?
For God. Am I losing all of you here? Some of you just kind of, I don't get it.
It's got to have.
I'm telling you right now, this is the way of victory.
Flesh.
See, how do you know? Because that's what God said.
War against your soul.
Look at it again in Philippians. Let's try it again.
Look over in chapter 4, 1 Peter chapter 4.
Has anybody here ever had a bad image
that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh?
Maybe just driving down the road, saw a billboard, whatever. You get this bad image in your head.
But to the will of God.
How do you get rid of it?
If you're going to do the will of God, you can't do the will of the flesh.
I'm not going to think about that bad image. You know what you're going to do?
You can't please God.
How many of you ever got an old song in your head that you didn't want there?
You can only please God by obeying the Spirit of God.
Right? You got that old music playing, and you got that song.
You were born again.
Why am I thinking about that song?
And now the Spirit of God in you
get that out of my head.
New man,
and you're trying to get it out of your head, and it keeps coming back.
But at the same time, you're just as carnal as you were the day you
I was at the gym the other day, and they had some song playing, and that thing was stuck in my head.
The only difference between you and a
man
lost man
is
you have
right,
the
I'm
Spirit of
working on
God
this
in
message.
you.
I've got to do what I preach.
But you still have the same flesh that any lost person
listen,
has.
you want to get a bad song out of your head. I'll tell you how to do it.
We'll see if we can get a definition from the Word of God of what
you understand
the flesh
how it works?
Truly is.
You can't get a bad song out of your head by just saying, I'm not going to think about it.
Chapter 5.
It don't work that way. What you do is you do.
Verse 17.
You don't not do.
For the flesh.
So what you start doing to get that bad song out of your head is you start singing, what can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of
the Spirit.
What can
and
make
the Spirit
me whole
against the flesh.
again?
Notice the
Nothing
Spirit
but the
is against
blood
the flesh,
of
but the
Jesus.
Spirit
Oh,
doesn't
victory in
the
Jesus, my Savior
forever. Against the Spirit. And the Spirit against
Brother
the
Kenny
flesh.
hit on it this morning over there in Ephesians.
These are contrary.
Chapter 5.
The
where it
one
says speaking
to
yourselves
other.
in psalms, hymns,
So that
spiritual
you,
song, making melody in your heart. You know what he's talking about there?
Cannot do the things that ye would.
That's it. We get you memorizing verses. What are we trying to do? Thy word have I hid in mine heart.
You see, when you got saved, there's now
that
two
I might
of
not sin against thee. You don't sin by saying don't sin.
Saved, you became
you don't sin by hiding God's word in your heart. Meditating on the word of God.
You now have two wills. You now have two desires.
In your spirit to God, praying without ceasing.
You still have the will and the desire
thinking
of the
about it,
man,
meditating on Christian
the
songs.
Man, the flesh.
On Christian hymns.
But you also now have the
whenever
will
you're
of God,
doing, you're not doing the things you shouldn't do.
And from the very second you
whenever
got
you're
saved,
doing.
there's now a war.
When you get in trouble is when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
You're either pleasing God in the Spirit,
Philippians chapter 4. Let me show you verse 8.
Contrary
Finally,
to God
brethren.
in the flesh. You cannot
whatsoever
do both
things
at
are
the same
true,
time.
whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever
Every
things are
second
just,
since
whatsoever
you've been
things are
saved,
pure, whatsoever
you've either
things are
been
lovely,
pleasing
whatsoever
God
things
by
are
doing
good
His will in
report,
the Spirit,
if there be any virtue, if there be any praise,
or you've been
think
going
on
contrary
these
to
things.
God by obeying
Those
your
things
flesh.
which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me,
Either one or the
do.
The flesh
And the
is
God of
against
peace shall be
God.
with
God is
you.
a spirit.
Now,
They
where
that
does he
worship
say,
Him
don't
must
think
worship Him in
about...
spirit and in truth. And if you're saved, you have the Spirit of God.
Right?
But you still have
Did he say not
what
not to think about?
The flesh lusteth against the Spirit.
Huh?
The Spirit against the flesh.
Don't
And
think
these
about
are
pink elephants.
contrary one to the other. So
What are you
that
going to think
ye
about?
Cannot do the things that ye
Don't
would.
lose. What's going to
When
happen?
ye are obeying God and pleasing God,
Don't
there's a part
miss.
of you,
What are you
the
gonna
ye,
do?
the flesh, that don't want to go
When
along.
we got out there in wrestling, and you're going against
And when
another
you're
guy, you
pleasing
never
the
want to be
flesh
thinking,
and following
"All right,
and
don't
obeying the
lose."
flesh, there's a part of you, the Spirit of God.
It should never
that
come into
doesn't
your
like
mind.